Good morning, GearFacts friends. Today I've been having a whole lot of fun with Yamaha's PSS-590, although I was a little bit disappointed to see that it doesn't actually have all of the features of the PSS-580, which had a full-on FM synthesizer built into it. This one has different features. Let's check it out. Tricky to play with these tiny little keys, especially when it's on the floor like this. But this was the start of a new breed for Yamaha, the tiny keys and the operating system, which, dare I say, it was a little bit more fun than what they'd been producing up until that time. My very first keyboard wasn't too far from this one. It was a PSS-490, and that was 1988, I think, when I bought this. So this is from a similar era. And one thing that drew me to this line of keyboards was Midi. That was incredibly sophisticated at the time, and we saw a whole lot of expansion options there. So I'll demonstrate that to you right now, showing an external sequencer and what it can send into it. Okay, so that was your average funk style pumped in through Midi. It's very easy to implement with the Midi transmit and receive options right here on the keyboard. It can receive 16 channels as you'd expect for Midi, so you just set them up on your sequencer, pump them straight in, and it works every time. But let's talk a bit more about what's actually on board. You'll notice we started with the piano sound before. You can change the volume of that sound in relation to everything else on the keyboard. And add some vibrato if you want to. Though it seems that not every voice will actually allow you to do that. It tends to be the voices that have lasting tones, such as a sine wave synth or something like that. I'll show you that in a moment. Then we've got reverb. Point out too that the PSS-590 can receive external signals relating to pitch bend and modulation. And here's a style with pitch bend. Beautiful music, but it does demonstrate the ease with which it can be controlled by Midi. We'll just go through the synth sounds before I move on to rhythms. Sound. Very 80s. So that's not all the sounds. Clearly there are 100 sounds, but it's a pretty good cross-section, and it shows that sometimes the PSS-590 can surprise you with the professionalism and the usability of these sounds. Now let's switch over to style and try the first one. Now I think that shows a pretty good standard. So we've got a nice button system here with start, stop, fill to the verse, fill to the bridge, and then take it out at the ending. So it's a nice logical sequence with a logical layout of buttons. It's really good. We'll try a different beat, say funk 1. Okay, so the drum sound effects are very much of their time. We've got 3 modes of orchestration here. So we have our usual accompaniment. Okay, to be honest, I'm not really sure what the relationship between the orchestration buttons and the drum control buttons had there, but the overall sound of it was pretty cool and interesting, I thought. As always in GearFacts demos, we'll take a bit of a closer look at the front panel. Some features listed here on the left, compatible to Midi standard, not general Midi, but the Midi implementation is pretty good, as we've seen. The on-off and volume buttons there, nice easy sound and rhythm selection style. The whole thing is very nicely laid out. You really don't need to even glance at the manual to get a full understanding of how to use this. The very logical sequence of pattern control there, as I showed just a moment ago. Then we've got some sound control here, harmony, volume, vibrato, reverb, and we can transpose and change our tempo very easily as well, even fine tuning. The MIDI section, again, fairly self-explanatory to anyone who knows much about MIDI, 16 channels in and out. You can lay down a chord track so you can do your fills and your chord progression, that kind of thing, and also record a melody track on top. As was very much the style at the time, we've got our little pictures of drums over the keys there so you can do live drum play. The back, well, there's nothing I haven't really already explained. MIDI in and out, over on the other side, power and headphone socket there through which I've been recording some of this demo. And let's just take a moment to appreciate the design as well. I love this sort of wedge profile that these old Yamaha PSS series keyboards have. It's compact, it's fun, it's a delight to play and use, and I'm really glad that I got to have another go on one. So, that's GearFacts for today. It's been a fun one. Thanks for liking, commenting, or subscribing. As always, all items reviewed on GearFacts will end up on GearFacts Music Gear Buy and Sell on Facebook, so check that out. And I'll see you next time. That's GearFacts.